Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's come to that time of the evening, time for me to do a movie podcast. It doesn't sound like I'm too enthused, but I am. I've been excited about it. I haven't done like a movie review or a movie podcast in at least a couple of years. I did copy and paste the link to Facebook and YouTube. We might have somebody come on the show, might not. The topic of tonight's podcast is the Marvel versus DC movies. And these are my own opinions. Does not mean what I say is concrete. It just means that's the way I feel. And honestly, a lot of people have sour opinions on stuff, and they rave about some other movies. Well, normally, what you hear from me is wrestling podcasts, and they're good, clean fun. Well, you're not going to get that from me tonight, ladies and gentlemen. When I've done, pardon me, when I've done my movie review in the podcast, I don't hold anything back. So if your ears are sensitive, maybe put on some earmuffs. I would think that all of you are adults, that none of you get a damn. So get ready. The first one I'm going to start off with is Superman. And I've got a lot of unpopular opinions compared to what everybody else thinks. I'm going to be honest, I was just not a fan of the Superman series. Whether it was one, two, three, or four, I wasn't a fan of Christopher Reeves as an actor. I just didn't find him believable. That's on me, and that's just my opinion. Did I try to watch Superman Returns? I did. I thought there's no harm in trying to give it a shot. And just like the majority of people, I thought it was crap. Then again, I'm not a big Superman fan. I watched the black and white series when I was young that starred Christopher Reeve. Sorry, George Reeves, dummy. And he was the only Superman, as far as I was concerned. That may be showing my age, and that's just fine. Man of Steel, I don't think I watched more than 20 minutes of it, and I turned it off. And I say I'm not a fan, yet I try to watch the films just to give them the benefit of the doubt, basically, because I'm an avid movie fan and I don't want to judge a book by its cover. Swamp Thing. I remember watching something as a kid and it was not scary to me. And then really, it's never been scary since. But it was compelling enough to stick along for the storyline. And I remember watching it with my stepdad, and I remember him thinking it might scare me, but I wasn't fooled. He just liked watching scary movies with me and my sister sometimes. And oh my lord, he would go outside and he would scare the living daylights out of us when we weren't expecting it. It would be piss your pants and scary. Oh, he was a character. Um, but yeah, I remember watching Swamp Thing more than a couple times with my stepdad, and I remember being, like I said, it wasn't that great of a film, but at the same time, it was a fun film, and it's fun to watch with your family. Bat Batman. I might as well get this out in the open. Michael Keaton is the best Batman, and that's the next movie we're going to talk about. Nobody could have played a better Joker either. He's the best version of the Joker, Jack Nicholson. He's a legend, and he made this movie a legend along with Michael Keaton and Kim Basinger. She was a great addition to this as well. This is this is my opinion, and I believe other people would probably think it's a popular opinion. Billy D. Williams would have made a better Two-Face than Tommy Lee Jones, and it would have made more sense because that he was the original Two-Face and Batman in 1989. Well, not necessarily Two-Face, but he would have became Two-Face. He was Harvey Dent, and yeah, Aaron Eckhart playing Harvey Dent in the future. But I thought Billy D. Williams as his character. I mean, he wasn't utilized very much in that movie. He just seemed stressed out. That's what all we got from his character. He seemed stressed out. Um, Back then, the Batmobile was taken a little more seriously. I didn't care for the Batmobile that they used in the Dark Knight series or in the Batman, the 2022 movie. I just didn't think that they took it seriously. I thought that the Batmobile was just, what did they call it? I was trying to think of what they called it. I believe they called it the Tumbler. Yeah, I was having a brain fart. But I didn't think that the Batmobile was taken seriously enough in the Dark Knight series, and it just looked ridiculous. Um, Prince, being the main guy on the Batman soundtrack, other than Danny Elfman for the instrumental part of the soundtrack, which I'm going to talk more about throughout the podcast, is the soundtracks. Prince did a wonderful job on the soundtrack, and he was an instrumental part of making the movie epic. And it's cool as it was, and still is. Throughout the movie, you get Prince's vibes in the museum scenes and in the parade as well. Scandalous, which I think is the sexiest song ever. Good loud. Nobody does a better job on the soundtrack music than Danny Elfman. I think he is just the bee's knees. He's the most brilliant person to ever compose music, not just for film, but ever. I'm just a big fan of his. You get his themes in movies like Edward Scissorhands and The Nightmare Before Christmas, as well as movies like Alice in Wonderland with Johnny Depp and Beetlejuice. And the movie that's really popular with me is Big Fish. If you haven't seen Big Fish, go check it out because it's a wonderful movie. But everything about Batman is cool, and it has a perfectly dark tone for what the Dark Knight is supposed to be. On the Batman Returns, it had everything that a Batman fan could want in a sequel for a Batman movie. Danny DeVito was perfect as Penguin, and Michelle Pfeiffer was perfect as Catwoman. And also, Christopher Walken did a really good job as Max Schreck. And you can ask for a better cast than that in a superhero movie. And that's what you get in Batman Returns. The origin story for Penguin could have been longer, but it was probably just enough for fans to see. In my opinion, I think they could have made it just a little bit longer watching him adjust to living in the sewer. If I were ever going to do like a film, I wouldn't mind doing an origin movie on the Penguin as it pertains to how he is portrayed in Batman Returns, where he has to adjust to living in the living in sewer life before he becomes the big crime syndicate of Gotham. Michelle Pfeiffer's origin story in the film for Catwoman is played out really well, from her demise and her place of employment to her feelings of jealousy and rage and being shut out. She does exactly what every pissed off person does at one point or another, and she starts tearing her shit up around the house and spray painting. I've never done any spray painting like that, but she sure did. Then you see her transformation. Maybe that part could have been played out a little bit better, but at the same time, you don't want to lose your audience. Not everybody needs an origin of the villain explained, but I think it adds to the value of the film or the story. But nobody has played a better Catwoman than Michelle Pfeiffer. Michael Keaton in both Batman and Batman Returns has the perfect tone for an actor to have in the way of personality, and how someone like Bruce Wayne, he composed himself and portrayed himself. Also, how he carries himself. He broods, yet he puts on a good appearance. Batman Forever. Batman Forever. This is where the cheese begins. Val Kilmer was a decent Batman, but a better Bruce Wayne, as he was good at brooding, as you see Michael Keaton doing also in the previous films. They're deep in reflection, and Val Kilmer's Batman is not as well for well versed as Michael Keaton's is. It comes off as cheesy, but it's still a better version than George Clooney's. I can't see much for Nicole Kidman's performance in the film, only that she added with her beautiful appearance. It seemed like she became eye candy for the film rather than taken seriously. The Riddler could not have been portrayed better than when Jim Carrey did it in this movie. Like Bruce Wayne, he broods. He's a mysterious character and he's eccentric, but he's also batshit crazy yet clever. As I said before, Tommy Lee Jones was the worst person they could have used as Two Face for this movie, and I'll just leave it at that. I need when I get a drink of wine. Where did I leave off? Getting ready to talk about Robin, I think. Chris O'Donnell as Robin, I thought was really good for the film because I like Chris O'Donnell, and I think he's a great actor. I thought he added a cool vibe to the film. Joe Schumacher, um, it should have been focusing on other films because Tim Burton should have been in full control of Batman Forever. Even though I really like Batman Forever, it still could have been a lot better. Batman and Robin. Oh God, that's the worst of the Batman movies from 1989 throughout the 90s. George Clooney was the worst Batman actor, and I I'll be thinking about who I would cast rather than the people that were cast in Batman and Robin. I'll be thinking about that. That's going to be a solo podcast of my own. Is talking about who would have been a better cast and what could have been done better in Batman and Robin. That's all going to be a podcast on its own. Batman Begins. I was a little underwhelmed with Batman Begins. I thought it could have been way better. Liam Neeson did a really good job as Ra's al Ghul, but I was never really big on Christian Bale as Batman. I like Christian Bale, but I was never a fan of him as Batman. Bruce Wayne, he did a really good job though. I thought all the actors that were in the Batman movies were good as Bruce Wayne, even if they weren't good as Batman. I like the actor, what's his name, Cillian Murphy as Scarecrow, but I wanted more from the character. There was not as much focus on him. I'm not a big Katie Holmes fan, so I didn't really care about her character because it was really underperformed. I thought she did a good job, but I wasn't really impressed with it. It didn't really stick out to me. I was, hey, I'm here. I thought Maggie Gyllenhaal did a better job in the next movie I'm going to talk about that took over her role. Gary Oldman, that was the perfect casting. Um, Even though he's not Commissioner Gordon yet in the film, uh, nobody could have played a better Commissioner Gordon. He was terrific at that. I'm a big Gary Oldman fan. I'll watch anything he's in. I thought Batman Begins. It was a good movie, but I didn't think it was great. So it's on to the Dark Knight, and it was perfect. It's just one of the best superhero movies of all time. Um, while I said I'm not a fan of the Batmobile and how I believe that Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson portrayed their characters the best, I still believe that Heath Ledger did an amazing job as the Joker. I thought, honestly, I think that Maggie Gyllenhaal made up for Christian Bale's performance in it. I mean, I like Christian Bale in other movies. I do, like Rescue Dawn. I love Rescue Dawn. I think that's a tremendous movie, and that's one of his best roles. I'm big on Christian Bale. It's not for Batman. I wish we could have gotten more from Two Face in The Dark Knight. If they were going to do another origin movie like Joker or Catwoman, I'd say do it with Two Face because we already have the Penguin series on HBO Max. Um, Seems like they're watching the new Batman animated series on Amazon, and even though Penguin is portrayed as a female, someone pointed out to me that in some of the comics there is a female version of Penguin. So I was confused at first, but I was cool with it. I got used to it, and it's actually really good. So if you haven't seen it, it's on Amazon. And I don't really watch animated stuff anymore. I grew out of it for a really long time, but I've started getting back into watching some of it. It gets you through your bullshit. The Dark Knight Rises. Get ready, folks. Here's one you're not gonna like if you're a fan of the movie. I hated it. I thought it was the worst superhero movie ever made. And my French history professor described part of the plot as being similar theme in the French Revolution. I wouldn't have even thought that. I didn't like how Catwoman was portrayed. The Bane voice was annoying. I thought it was way over the top, and it just didn't focus on Batman and Bruce Wayne as much as it should have, in my opinion. It was all over the place. I couldn't keep up with it. The ending seemed inconclusive and confusing. I just thought it was shit. I didn't like it at all. Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. This fucking movie put me to sleep. There's the first F bomb. You're gonna get him, folks. Ben Affleck just sucks as Batman and Bruce Wayne. I don't really want to talk anymore about this damn movie because it just sucks that bad. I even tried giving it a second shot and I fell asleep again. This movie is just nothing but a snooze fest. Justice League, the same fucking thing. Maybe it's my ADD, but I can't have 20 damn characters being thrown at me all at once rather than trying to put the focus on a group of characters or just it was just too much for me, man. Again, I fell the hell asleep. Still from 1997. Uh, this movie isn't even memorable whatsoever. In fact, you could walk your dog in the dog park and come back and have a better time than sitting watching this piece of crap. Catwoman with Halle Berry, also a bunch of crap. It was a complete waste of time because it went absolutely nowhere. And instead of take talking about the crappy acting or the crappy storyline, I'm going to move on to the next damn movie. Constantine. I actually have not seen this movie yet, and I need to give it a shot because I've heard many people telling me how good it was. I'm a big Keanu Reeves fan, so I'm going to give it a shot soon. I didn't want to just include movies that I have seen. I wanted to include movies that I haven't seen too, so people can tell me more about them and what they thought. The 2009 version of Watchmen. The only version I saw of this was the unrated version. I didn't see the theatrical version, and it was too damn long. The unrated version. I thought it was a good movie, but I didn't think it was that great. Jonah Hex. It was a walking heap of crap. I thought it was boring. The storyline wasn't compelling, and not once did it draw me in and make me feel like I had to stick around for it. So let's move on to the next movie, Green Lantern from 2011, Ryan Reynolds. I can't stand anything that Ryan Reynolds is in, so I'm not going to waste my energy talking too much about him. I saw the movie um, before I came so opinionated about Ryan Reynolds. Suicide Squad from 2016. Everything about this movie was pretty good, except for what's his name again? Jared Leto. He played the part of the Joker, and that's what was a complete joke from the Suicide Squad. It was horrendous. It was bloody awful. It was a waste of time. He was caca senor. That's enough of that. And this was also pre Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, and it was good. It was good Will Smith. Everything. Everybody's favorite Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Uh, Not only did she know this part, she was super hot. Like she knew the part really well. She knew what she was doing. Uh, she was just perfect at being crazy and sexy at the same damn time. That's all I can say about that. If you get me all flustered, come on, let's move on to the next movie. Wonder Woman. I thought it was a good movie, but it could have been better. I enjoyed it. It made me excited for the next one, but I'm not going to talk about the next one because it was crap. It was junk. It made Wonder Woman, the first one, it made it look way better than it was. Aquaman. I won't talk about the actress in this film that later took a deuce in Johnny Depp's bed, and we'll just leave it at that. But they couldn't have had a better actor than Jason Momoa to play the part of Aquaman. I'm a big fan of his, and even his independent films are pretty good. I really enjoyed Aquaman, but I still have not seen all of the second one. I need to give it a shot soon. Shazam from 2019. I still have not seen it. I need to give it a shot too. Let me know if there's anybody out there that has seen it, that has anything positive or negative to say about it. The Batman from 2022. I enjoyed it, and even though a lot of people don't like Robert Pattinson, I thought he did a good job. Like the other Batmans before him, except for Ben Affleck, he was good at brooding and being dark as Bruce Wayne. The Penguin was perfectly cast with Colin Farrell, and they've got a great HBO Max series out of it. Black Adam from 2022. I thought the storyline for Black Adam was good, but the acting was crap. The action was great, but it just missed something. And The Rock as Black Adam was just freaking horrible. Just because you have a dream of playing a part doesn't mean you should, jabroni. The Flash, you know, despite the controversy surrounding the main actor, the movie was actually really good. I can't remember the guy's name, and honestly, I thought that Michael Keaton being a part of the movie made it that much better. I actually really enjoyed The Flash, and I'll probably watch it again. Joker 2, Follow Your Deuce. It's not the name of it, but that's what I'm fucking calling it. I'm not even going to bother watching it. I'm not into musicals, despite what you may think of me. We're on to the Marvel movies. We've gone to the DC movies I wanted to talk about, the ones I've seen and the ones I haven't that I want to see. Howard the Duck. It was one of my favorite movies growing up. I still watch it. Growing up, I had a big crush on Leah Thompson. I know this movie to some people is super creepy and super cheesy, but I always enjoyed it. I, and it's because Leah Thompson is super hot. Like I might have to move on to the next one. It's kind of like the Margot Robbie thing. But when you're a kid and you see a talking duck in a Jim Henson movie, you're paying the hell attention, aren't you? I don't care if its name is Kermit or Howard. Just stay away from Jeffrey Jones. Nobody likes you. Go the fuck away. Blade. Being one of the first Marvel movies is pretty cool because Blade would have to be my second Marvel film, I think. My second favorite one. Wesley Snipes and Chris Christopherson is a perfect combination. The movie, the second movie wasn't that memorable, but you had Ryan Reynolds to the mix, and I just want to throw out Blade Trinity, same damn story. The only thing memorable from this movie was Triple H, Paul Levesque, saying his one line, "We pretty much got effed in the A." I'm censoring that part because there's no. I really don't want to say that. X Men, the first X Men movie, I thought was great. Um, it had a perfect cast, and throughout the X Men series, I thought it was perfectly cast. Out of all the series, out of all the Marvel series, X Men would probably be my favorite series. I can't pull out any specific scenes in my mind to really talk about because everything was really on point. X Men Origins Wolverine, I really enjoyed that. It shows the origin of Logan into the Wolverine. Everything from his transformation to the end of the movie was great. And I know I've heard other people say they didn't care for it, but I loved it. X Men First Class, I still haven't seen that one, and I'm going to give it a shot though soon. The Wolverine, which is different from X Men Origins Wolverine. I thought the movie was just okay. I mean, the action was really good, but the storyline could have been way better. And Logan, that was my least favorite of the X Men movies. I just didn't care for it. X Men Days of Future Past. Um, now, I may have to actually see that one too. I'm not sure if I've seen that one. And Apocalypse. I know this is bad because I fell asleep in it, but I know I was dead dog tired. I'm just gonna have to watch that one again. But all the other ones I really like. New Mutants is kind of questionable because I've heard a lot of bad reviews. It doesn't mean that I shouldn't just not watch it. So who knows? Dark Phoenix. I tried watching it. It was crap. I didn't enjoy it at all. Spider-Man movies, covering all three of them, kind of at the same time. With some of these movies, I am. You just kind of covered them all at once. Some of them. Um, Tobey Maguire series was perfect. I enjoyed all three of the films, and Tobey Maguire is the best Spider-Man, and I'm not going to debate over it. I have spoken, and nobody could have played a better Green Goblin or Doc Ock. I know most people, including myself, think that anybody could have been a better Venom in part three than Topher Grace. But I did like his line, "I like being bad. Makes me happy." I thought that was a really cool line, even if it was cheesy. Kirsten Dunst, I thought she was a really good choice for Mary Jane. I don't think anybody has played a better one or a better love interest for Peter Parker. Daredevil, oh God, Daredevil. Son of a, no. It's just straight up Tata Senor. And I don't want to talk about it anymore. Hulk with Eric Bana. I thought was the best Hulk movie. I thought Sam Elliott being in it made it that much better because he's great in anything he's in. And Eric Bana, I thought his portrayal of Bruce Banner was much better than Edward Norton's. He was able to show emotion much better. The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton, I didn't think was good at all. Uh, I was ready for it to end. I just didn't think he was good at showing anger or emotion like Eric Bana. It just seemed like he was just kind of stuck on himself, and I just couldn't take him seriously. The Punisher, 2004. I don't remember it being all that great. I'll be honest, but I remember Thomas Jane's performance being really good. The storyline probably could have been a little better. It seemed like it lacked a little something. It just needed a little bit more to the story, maybe. Electra, I didn't watch Down Night Down. Fantastic Four, I'm going to give you the same answer. I didn't watch Now I'm Not Gonna. It just doesn't look appealing to me. Ghost Rider, I remember liking the movie, but it wasn't that memorable. I remember Nicolas Cage being good in his role, but that's about it. The Iron Man movies. I thought the first Iron Man movie was the best, and then it went downhill from there. I'm a big Terrence Howard fan, and I think he's a tremendous actor. And normally I can't stand Jeff Bridges, but I thought he did a really good job as the villain. Um, I don't really have anything to say about the second or third Iron Man movies because I just was not that impressed. I felt like Jeff Bridges kind of stole the show, and I didn't think it was going to get any better than that, and it didn't. You know, you can think someone is crap in all their movies, and then find that one movie that you see him and you're like, damn, that was really good. And George Clooney, even though I'm not a George Clooney fan, I watched him in The Italian, and I really liked it. I thought that was really good, and even though I haven't ever really changed my mind on him, I've got a brother where Art Thou, I own the movie. Um, so, and it's also because I'm a fan of the story of Odysseus, and I think that makes a difference. I think the Odyssey is a really cool story. I remember reading it when I was really young, and that's what the story is based on. Thor, trying to find my place. It was a complete waste of time. Honestly, I wish I hadn't seen it, and uh, it was just boring. I tried watching it a second time, and it put me to sleep. Captain America: The First Avenger. I loved it. I thought it was excellent. I can't take anything away from that movie at all. I thought it was perfectly put together. The Avengers was the only good Avengers movie for me. I just all the other ones put me to sleep. The storylines were all over the place, and they could never just put a focus on a more central part rather than trying to put a focus on a million things at once. The Amazing Spider-Man. I thought it was just okay. I wasn't that impressed. Guardians of the Galaxy sucked. I wasn't prepared for how bad it sucked. I simply just turned it off. And no, I didn't bother with the sequel. I like Chris Pratt in most things, but oh no, there's just something off about seeing him in that. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm flaky about certain things in movies, and I just didn't care for his. Maybe it's not just his portrayal. It's I think it's just that character. I just don't like that character at all. Ant Man. I really like Ant-Man, and I like Paul Rudd. And he does some cheesy shit, and I think that's why I like him because some movies can be cheesy and you can like them, and some movies have to be serious and over the top. And Paul Rudd has been known to be in some cheesy shit and act like cheesy and to act cheesy, but I think being he seems really down to earth, and I think when you're down to earth, uh, you have a really likable part of you. And he really pulls that off in the Ghostbuster movies, the last two that they came out with. He just seems really likable, and I like that about him. I liked Michael Douglas's character and the storyline in Ant Man. It was pretty good, and the action was great. The only thing I would take away from it is that the storyline could have been a little bit better, but the acting was really good. Ant Man 2, it was just okay, and it could have been way better. Doctor Strange. I still haven't seen the first one. I saw the second one, and I thought it was great. I loved it. I usually don't see movies out of sequence, but I enjoyed the trailer so much. I said I got to see this, and it was really cool. Spider-Man: Homecoming. I thought it was good, but the focus seemed like it was all over the place rather than a more central theme. I didn't enjoy it that much, but it was okay. Deadpool. Now everybody's gonna hate me. Here we go. Even though I don't have a filter sometimes, I know when it's appropriate and when it's not. And since this is my podcast, I can do what the fuck I want. Um, Ryan Reynolds, man, or hate on Ryan Reynolds. I just can't stand Deadpool because it's filthy, and I'm not used to seeing superhero movies that are filthy like that, and I should have known better. But that's my fault. I think I just try and give Ryan Reynolds the benefit of the doubt sometimes, but I would never watch that friggin' piece of crap again. And it's also the sexual content that was in it. It was just like I don't need that in this superhero movie. That's ridiculous. And this is coming from somebody who likes movies like American Pie, Porky's, Revenge of the Nerds, and I'm not even gonna bother with Deadpool and Wolverine. I couldn't give a rat's ass. I'm not even gonna give it the time of day. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I need to give it another shot because it seems like it was a really good movie, and I gave up on it because I had something else going on. Venom. I thought it was good, but it was a little underwhelming. But I did think Tom Hardy did a really good job. But I have not seen the sequel to it. Spider-Man, Spider-Man: No Way Home is one of the best Spider-Man movies there is, honestly. While I prefer the trilogy with Tobey Maguire, it was nice to see him back in this movie. Morbius. Damn you. Damn you, Bobby. Damn you, Morbius. Morbius sucks shit through a straw. It was absolute nonsense. The storyline sucked. I think I watched 40 minutes of it and then I drove away. It was at the drive-in theater. There just wasn't enough action in it in the 40 minutes that I was watching it. It didn't seem like the storyline improved or even tried to progress. It was just an absolute turd in the doggy park. I wouldn't give it a second chance if it were the only movie left on Earth. So honestly, I'm kind of in between on whether Marvel or DC is better because I think I like just as many films from Marvel as I do DC. So that concludes this podcast. I'm gonna have another one coming up. I'm gonna do one on the horror movies of the 1980s and 1990s, and I hope you'll watch that one too. And I know that nobody tuned into this one live, and that's fine because I'm going to do a lot of stuff that people aren't going to tune into, and they're going to watch it later like, oh my God, that shit is long. I don't have time for that, man. I totally get that. But again, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll watch the next one.